Today's video, we're going over hip degenerative joint disease. If this is something that you guys have been diagnosed with or worried about or think you might have, we're going to go over just a couple of things that you can try with the video today to see if it helps with some of your discomfort. Hey everybody, my name is Dawn, this is Sebastian, and we are part of the locally world famous chiropractors in Costa Mesa. We're going to go over just a couple of things that you can try with the video today to see if it helps with some of your discomfort. And if it works for you, great. We have some options for you throughout the video or at the end that we can discuss going forward.
If they want to learn a little bit more, they can go to our channel and search degenerative joint disease hip and learn a little bit more about the details of that. So the first thing we're going to try here is a hip flexor stretch, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to be the model or the...
Yeah, you take me through it.
Okay. So go ahead and set up as if you're stretching your hip flexor. By the way, let everyone know, this is something that might help some people but not others.
Mm-hmm.
So Dawn, show me the best hip flexor stretch that you can do because you've been doing this probably at home. Okay. Your mouth tells me that you're concentrating on
really
something.
Hard.
Okay. So that's okay. So everybody, I think she's doing it pretty well. She's contracting the right glute over here, and she's trying to push her pocket towards the wall in front of her. So this is one way to do it. Actually, I had someone recently, this didn't really work well with, but so I had them take their hip pocket and try to point it at their front foot. There you go. And then go ahead and rock towards the front foot and come back out. You can also take the right hand and put it right there and then push your hip towards your front foot as well. And usually about 20-30 reps is enough to figure out if things are going well. You don't need to hold the position, but just go through some rocking a little bit, Dawn. So this is an example of one of the exercises that we could show on things like a virtual session. We also show it in person when people come in to see us too. But again, this doesn't work for everybody. Sometimes this generally starts to make them worse. In that case, we change this really quickly into something else which can work. Right, Dawn?
Yeah, absolutely. So the thing about degenerative joint disease is that normally what happens in the beginning is you're using that joint improperly, overuse. And so the body tries to stabilize, and now we probably have less movement in that hip. So this one here is really nice because it's an active version. It gets a little bit more joint mobilization in there. It's really light and easy, but sometimes we need something a little bit harder also too to feel changes in discomfort and changes in your movement and exercise. So we're going to go through something different next.
Yeah, so we're going to do a single leg bridge. I'll be the patient.
Yeah, I'll take you through it. So
Okay.
Here is an even more challenging way to find better hip extension or joint mobs with some glute activation. So Seb's going to set up like he's doing a single leg glute bridge. For those of you that are familiar with that, we're going to have a couple cues that I want you to focus on. If not, I'll just take you through it. Show me a single leg glute bridge. How would we do this? Perfect. And so ultimately what he's doing is, number one, he's driving through this front heel to get his hip up off the ground, okay? What we don't want is for you to dump into your low back in this, so show them a bad version. Awesome. So if that feels like you're using your back, you're not getting a lot of glute, maybe a whole lot of hamstring, we're going to take the opposite hand, or both hands, doesn't matter, and we're going to push onto the knee that's not doing much. Doesn't have to be a crazy amount, just a little bit of pressure there. And now we're doing the same thing, pressure through the hands here and pressure through the heel to get the hip pocket up to the ceiling. This is going to be some core and some glute activation going on here while we're mobilizing into that hip.
Yeah, this is almost like an active version of a hip flexor stretch.
Absolutely.
I know I've had one person ask one time, what's the best way to stretch your hip flexor? I said, do a bridge. And they said, no, really, I want to stretch. I said, it is. And so it's called reciprocal inhibition. When the glute starts working, this hip flexor stops working as much, and we can get a good stretch in there and make the whole thing kind of lock itself in a little bit better, make it save itself versus doing repeated hip stretches all the time.
Absolutely. Hip stretching, if you've already been doing that one for a long period of time without any change, try this one out because probably need something more challenging to see some difference there.
Yeah. How often would you have someone do that, or what's the intensity actually that someone might do that one?
I would do that because giving sets and reps is different for everyone. So what we usually say is find a 60% perceived effort. So scale of 1 to 10, 10 being I can't even do one more if I wanted to, stop around a 6. So where we have a couple left in the tank, but it's pretty challenging for you.
So that's one example of a flow that we can take people through that might have worked for you or might not have. Again, as I mentioned earlier, what helps one person doesn't always help somebody else. But we can take a logical approach when we put rehabilitation exercises together and say, okay, so this hip flexor stretch makes this person feel better. We can load that pattern by something like a single leg bridge, but if bringing your knee to your chest is painful, we probably wouldn't load that pattern in a deep squat. But for other people, it might be different.
So like we said, in-person virtual is an option, but there's also probably going to be something that pops up on the screen that could prompt you into, yes, follow said, it's probably over there somewhere. It'll prompt you into a webinar that we've put together for you. So if you're somebody that maybe this didn't work so well for you, you probably don't fit into the category of things that this works for. There's a lot of things that can happen in the hip joint, and so we've put together this webinar of all the different things, a lot of things that we see in office that cause hip discomfort. And so we take you through different exercises and things to try. So if this one didn't work well for you, please take advantage of that option. We made it there for you for a reason.
Yep, we'd love to see you virtually or in person. At any point, you can reach out to us, and our staff is actually willing to talk to you for free. Just call the office, okay? We'll see you guys next time. Subscribe to the channel. And if you want to talk to us, you can always get a hold of us. See you next time.